Hey everybody. It's been a long night for me. The reason I'm going to do this hangout is because I'd intended to do a Remembrance Day hangout because I wanted to reach out to those that are alive, those that have lost people, to the vagaries of fate that have lost the lives of loved ones, and I wanted to recognize the responsibility of those individuals, those people that have chosen to defend us, regardless of whether you live in the US or in Canada or in Great Britain or in France, whatever you call it, whether it's Veterans Day or Armistice Day or Remembrance Day, it doesn't matter. I had wanted to reach out and speak about the responsibility that those people take on. And I wanted to tie that in just a little to a certain sort of responsibility that I see lacking here in North America. And I know this is going to seem like an awkward segue, but 100 years ago, there were people lying about their age in order to sign up for military service, in order to charge into enemy fire, to suffer the horrendous death that comes of gas warfare. That these are people that were thrown into trenches, losing feet to constantly being soaked. These are people that watched their friends die. And now we come to 2016, ladies and gentlemen, and we have people that have been handed, they haven't earned, they've been handed these certificates and ribbons and trophies of participation. Their existence, their production of carbon dioxide has been validated by these awards. And no, I certainly do not imagine that all of the people that are out there protesting the election of Trump are such people. But I believe that the people that are out there protesting the election of Trump that matter the most are the people that actually have an argument to make. The people that saw their candidate, Bernie Sanders, being ignored and being run off the ticket and being forced, in my opinion. I'm just some schmuck in Canada. I really don't know. But to me, it seemed that Bernie Sanders was not only forced off of the ticket and ignored, but he was forced to turn around and endorse the person that quite obviously either was ignorant of the actions of her campaign party, and ignorance is no excuse under law, or alternatively, that person endorsed those actions, endorsed his erasure from that party ticket. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Bernie Sanders had all the answers. I vote far to the left. I vote for a unionist party. That's where I think my conscience lies. Right or wrong, that's not the fucking point. But that's where I think my values lie. I want to see a strong balance of union and non-union labor actually compete with each other. I don't want to see unions take it all over like the Teamsters did once upon a time. I don't want to see the non-union companies rake their employees over the coals. And I don't think that Bernie was going to do it all in 8 years. But at least he had a fucking plan. I think 318 million people got legitimately fucked out of something that resembles a really good candidate. You know what they got? They got somebody that is, frankly, the best candidate possible. I don't know how Trump's going to pan out. Hopefully he does at least a good job. Him and Obama had their little sit down. It didn't look like it was as awkward as it could have been. I think that bodes well, that there will be a reasonable transition. I hope that Trump is going to pick people to populate his cabinets populate his. Honestly, I would hope to see him maybe reach out to Obama and say, you know what, Barack, I'd like to see you maybe join in and give me some good advice in the early months of his presidency. I don't know that'll happen, but you know what? Maybe just a little pipe dream I got. It'd be all right though. But in the meantime, there is cities on fucking fire. And I'm looking down from the north and I'm going, what in the fuck are you people doing? What the fuck are you know what? No, the Electoral College may not be the best fucking system out there. Might not be at all relevant anymore. Maybe Maine has it figured out. Maybe Maine and their 4 electoral districts is a good plan. I don't know. I'm not living there. I'm just a fucking retard living up in Canada trying to make a living. But my living depends on whether or not you people can get this shit together. I'm really tired of this shit. I really want to have a positive, active community here in North America without any of this globalist bullshit. I like Canada. I think Canada needs to be a thing. I think America is, you know what? I think America is a pretty goddamn good thing. I think it can be a thing on its own too. You know what? Mexico, that probably could be a thing. And we all got our issues to fucking sort the fuck out. But I am tired of my fucking relevance on this fucking stage being predicated on whether or not you fucks south of the border can get the fuck along. People I love are in the US. People I know and I care about and that I consider to be integral parts of my life are sat down there in the US petrified for all the fucking wrong reasons. This should not be difficult. Okay? Canada has all too much experience with protest votes. That's what we did to get our current honorable Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. And you know what? Justin Trudeau, all things considered, a feminist, and oh yeah, it's current year and whatnot, but he's not a bad Prime Minister. I didn't vote for him, but I accept that he's not a bad Prime Minister. But we decided as a country that we needed to be rid of Stephen Harper. That Stephen Harper was not representative of our views. This was somehow a problem. And that's not the way to go about voting. I don't like Stephen Harper. I didn't like what he was doing. But my choice was for my conscience. I voted for a unionist party because I think back to Jack Layton and what he said about we need to have hope and we need to have love. We need to actually go forward. Fear does nothing. And that's a horrible misquote. But that's the sentiment that Jack Layton had. And the NDP may not be perfect for what I think the country needs. The Liberals certainly are not perfect. That's why we have parties. That's why we have these multiple options. But we voted in protest. And instead of getting what was best for the country, we got what was least bad. And now, America, you are saddled with what is least bad. 318 million people across theoretically 4 parties, 2 major ones, 2 minor ones, could have at any point in time selected viable candidates. But you didn't. You fussed, you hollered, you fucking had a goddamn tantrum. And you're some of you are still having that fucking tantrum. Why in the fuck are there people out there burning shit in cities that voted for Hillary? If you have a problem with the Electoral College, moving to Canada is not your solution. Fixing the fucking Electoral College, if that is your complaint, is the solution. I come from a country that is first past the post. I don't think it's a good system. And I have actually tried to indicate to my elected representatives, I don't think this is the best system, but I don't know how to fucking fix it. And I've asked people more knowledgeable than me how to fix it. And you know what? When I asked about the Electoral College, people told me what Maine is doing with that current 4 little districts, that's a relatively good system. At least it's indicative of the individual interests of those districts. But no, we've got to set shit on fire. We got to have more fucking fights. We got to be in Portland, making the Portland fucking police tweet, "We are being pelted with shit." That's the thing that happened, folks. Portland police reporting on Twitter that they were having shit thrown at them. What the fuck is wrong? You know what? No, maybe Trump isn't the best ever. But you have a responsibility as citizens of your country to make this the best 4 years you can. I don't care if you love everything that Trump does or you hate everything that Trump does. You're vilifying each other. You're drawing lines in the sand. You're being divisive on a level that fucking astounds me. It boggles my fucking mind. There's a reason I'm doing this, as Bill Riley said. Fuck it, let's do it live. Because this is something that I think legitimately needs to be expressed viscerally. I don't get it. What the fuck are you complaining about? The system has functioned as it was designed. If the system is wrong, then fix the system. Don't flee, don't cry, don't throw a tantrum. Fix it. And that's where we come back to that little bit at the start. Those people that took on the responsibility to defend us. 100 years ago, people took on that responsibility to defend their homelands, their loved ones. It's on you. It's your responsibility, if you think this system is so horribly fucking damaged, to be responsible for how it gets fixed. Crying and throwing shit around like a bunch of goddamn squalling toddlers is the last thing anybody fucking needs. You're supposed to be the fucking leaders of the next generation. All these millennials that are tearing around, throwing shit, setting fires. You're nothing but a bunch of neotenous fucking crybabies. And yeah, you know what? Sort of look like a white dude. Sort of look like I got a penis. That's fucking amazing. My opinion doesn't fucking matter less because of it. And that is exactly why you have alienated so many goddamn people. Because, oh my God, you don't have a skin tone I like. Oh my God, you don't have genitalia I like. Therefore, I must decry everything you potentially bring forth as an opinion. I have news for you, asshole. When you bring up race first, when you bring up sex first, the racist and the sexist is not me. When I tell you I'm judging by character, not characteristics, that is because I think possibly you have a fucking opinion that needs to be heard. But instead, I'm shouted down. I'm shamed. I'm shamed for things like saying, I think male victims of domestic violence need services equal to their needs. Not a goddamn word about taking anything away from any other victim class. Not a single thing. But instead of taking that statement, men that are victims of domestic violence need services equal to their needs, and saying that's a valid statement, that's a relevant statement, that's something that we need to examine as a society, as a culture. Instead, I'm called a misogynist. I'm called an apologist for woman beating. Even though all I have said is that men struggle too and should be helped. There is no excuse for calling me a misogynist for saying that men have problems too. That's not ignoring that women have problems too. That is accepting that from my own experiences, from the data I've looked through, from just looking the fuck around. Yes, people have problems. And we need to serve the people that have problems. Doesn't matter what fucking gender they are, doesn't matter what race they are, doesn't matter if they're purple with polka dots. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of this divisive bullshit. And this divisive bullshit is what has garnered you this electoral result. You have spent the last probably 5 or 6 years for sure, maybe longer, screaming at people. You're a racist. You're a sexist. You're a misogynist. You're a homophobe. You're transphobic. Spewing out catchphrase after fucking catchphrase. Diminishing the value of those words when they actually legitimately apply to a victim of something serious. You've turned the fucking definition of sexual assault into anything a man ever does. You've diminished the actual goddamn experiences of people that have been legitimately harmed and victimized. And you wonder why nobody wants to fucking listen to you anymore. Jesus Christ. I'm looking south and I'm going, I don't fucking get it. I don't know why in the fuck you people have this problem. I legitimately don't. But I've watched it for the last 5 or 6 fucking years. I have friends and family in the US that I desperately want to see safe. But I'm stuck here because this is where I need to be to do my thing, to be me. And in the meantime, my friends and family are being put at risk because you goddamn millennial crybabies don't get it. This is the process we have in the US. This is the process that if you complain about it, you need to fix, not cry about. Tired of this shit. Accept responsibility. When I was in goddamn junior high, I was a constant fucking terror, constantly fucking in the principal's office. And the day that it dawned on me, I got into a scrap with another student. I kept tugging his toque, his knit cap down, kept pulling it over his eyes. And he turned around and slapped me. And a teacher bustled over and separated us. I was dragged off to the principal's office. You know what? Sat there in front of the vice principal, actually. And he said, what happened? I said, well, I pulled so-and-so's toque down. He said, and it was like it was an epiphanic moment. Hands up and hallelujah. I didn't believe I didn't believe I would hear you say that. I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. He said, I didn't believe I would hear you take responsibility for being part of something. I don't know that you were necessarily the start of it or that you were necessarily the end of it, but you admitted that you were responsible for some part of it. And I took that to heart. The left has made their bed, and it's time that the left either gets ready to sleep in it or finds the couch. Because, folks, calling people goddamn crybabies, goddamn man babies, bitching about male tears, kill all men as hashtags, racism, sexism, misogyny as just blurbs that you spew out when somebody doesn't agree with every aspect of the minutiae that you personally believe in. It's not going to work anymore. This doesn't fucking work anymore. I'm a victim of domestic violence. I'm a victim of sexual violence. You're not going to fucking shame me. I've already been through all the shame I could possibly fucking take on it because guys don't experience that victimization. Guys don't, that doesn't happen to guys. There's not a goddamn thing you can do to shame me. It's time you accept it. Time to take responsibility. Liberals and Democrats and whatever you call yourselves. I don't care. Progressives, sure, take it. Own your labels. Own what caused what is going on. Own that you spent the last 5, 6, 7 years screaming at people, telling them that they were assholes constantly for the slightest deviation. Tell them that they're assholes for being on your side and then eating your own when they're not perfect and paragons of whatever your fucking view is. Now, here's the difficult part, folks. Here's where I switched the script around because the left has fucked this up. Here's where the right has the responsibility, where the Republicans or whomever, whatever label you want to grab. All you people that supported Trump, You got what you wanted, and that's good. It's fine. Because this is clearly a reactive vote. This is a protest. You want shit to work a little more logically, or at least as logically as you understand. You need to be 100% sure that you are not fucking this up. Because Trump has flat out admitted he's not a career politician. And that is part of his appeal. If that fucker is going to delegate, that's fine. He needs to be sure he's getting the best possible assistance. And if shit starts going screwy, if things that his vice presidential presidential selection has talked about in the past start coming to fruition or start looking like they're things, I'm going to be the first asshole all over you. And I will be right up that orange prick's nose, bitching about it. Because we clearly have a problem south of the 49th. And that problem appears to be a bunch of people that can't get along as roommates. There are people that are engaged in the most vitriolic and absurd behavior, screaming about, oh my God, you supported Trump. Oh my God, you supported Hillary. How about we support America? This thing that you keep talking about. God damn. And no, I'm not seeing this mostly coming from the right. This is not. I'm on the goddamn left, for fuck's sakes. I'm minarchist and voluntarist and a little bit socialist. I'm out there on the left. I should be fucking voting Green Party, folks. And I'm still looking at Trump going, this makes more sense than Hillary. What does that tell you, folks? How am I picking the guy that's just, honestly, from my very brief analysis of his actual platform as described on NPR earlier tonight, is actually only just barely right of centrist. How in the fuck does that happen where I'm way over here on the left, off in the fucking boonies, relatively speaking, and I'm looking at Trump going, he's pretty centrist. And yet we have assholes ripping shit up, breaking windows, setting fires, throwing shit at cops. But it's okay, because not my president. The Electoral College not working out like I wanted. You're a bunch of goddamn crybabies that got fucking rewards for showing up and producing carbon dioxide and not shitting yourselves. It's time to grow the fuck up. This excessive neoteny that has infested American and Canadian and UK, infested Western culture, to be frank, where people are visited upon by parents, patted on the head and handed their participation ribbons, needs to fucking stop. I'm tired of getting told by a bunch of jumped up fucking 19-year-olds that legitimately haven't actually experienced anything. In fact, have experienced so little that they're probably not even sure who their own parents are. But they're bumbling about university telling me how everything is offensive. Well, motherfuckers, when you want to talk about privilege, I got my first job at the age of 7. Walked home from school, about a mile and a half in the city, walked my ass home. And then I walked up another about half, maybe 5/8 of a mile up, and I went and I filed shit for an insurance company. And when I wasn't filing shit, one of the ladies at the insurance company made sure I was sat down doing my homework. I was fucking 7. The next year, I got a job as a paper boy. My first day delivering the papers was a Sunday. It was a May-long weekend, and it was a goddamn blizzard. And I humped my ass across the fucking frozen tundra that you're all so fond of imagining is Canada. There was snow up to my knees, and I dragged my paper bag behind me on the snow like a little sled. I delivered 45 papers on my first day. So tell me more about the privilege I've experienced. I started working bingos to pay for my own hockey registration, my own hockey equipment. as an 11-year-old when the legal age required was 12. And when I turned 12, the age was already bumped to 14. And when I was nearly 14, they bumped it to 16. And I kept working bingos. And I turned 16 and smoking bylaws come in, and you couldn't be a minor in a bingo hall because it was a gambling establishment. And yet I was in a bingo hall working to pay for my fucking sports registration, to play hockey, pay for my hockey gear. But tell me more about how amazingly and overwhelmingly privileged I am. I've been on this fucking planet for 37 years, and I've been working for 30 of them, just accounting for just the things that had monetary recompense. Doesn't account for the 12 years. Actually, if we're going to be honest, I spent nearly 13 years in actual school, and I've spent another already almost 8 in trade school. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of being lambasted and pilloried and fucking driven about by people that cry about how difficult the world is when they've not even seen it yet. You're still in a fucking classroom. Get a job. Travel the world. You know what? Be a fucking barista in a shitty little coffee shop. Go and be a waitress at a shitty little hole-in-the-wall bar. Do the things that the rest of us did. I've been fucking working in construction for 20 fucking years, goddammit. I've seen shit and done shit that absolutely is fucking absurd. But I've survived it somehow. And you know what? It's made me who I am. And who I am is tired. I'm absolutely, viscerally exhausted. I've spent 4 years researching feminist theory and domestic violence statistics and sexual violence statistics. I've committed myself to a whole extra job for 4 years. It's not just this making video shit that I do. I spend my time hoping that I'm going to be as good as somebody like Teal Deer when he goes through the statistics. And I don't know half of what he knows. But the half that I do know tells me that you assholes are villainizing me and demonizing me for telling the fucking truth. And I'm tired of it. You fucking want equality? Well, guess what? It's 0.3% in the popular vote, and the votes aren't all counted. What does that fucking tell you? It tells me that you're all fucking wound up far too fucking early. Bitching that, oh, Hillary won the fucking vote. Well, guess what? You've got the Electoral College. Either fix the Electoral College or stop your crying. God. It's a bunch of fucking crying, miserable children that have somehow dragged their blankies and their stuffed animals and their little fucking nap time spaces into adulthood. Well, I'm sorry. When you get out in the real world, kids, it's not how it works. You get to go to work. And I don't have time, if I'm your boss, to pat you on the head, to tell you everything is going to be okay. When I get up on that scaffold and I ask you to tie on a bag of right angles, I'm asking you to put 25 pounds worth of materials into a bag that I'm going to pull up on a rope while my nuts are dangling in the air. And I don't have time to listen to you yammer on about, oh my God, the Marxist implications of your oppressive behavior. Because it's bullshit. Your gender studies degree, your soft sciences fuckery is not fucking relevant anymore. It might have a value, but that market is so oversaturated that it serves no purpose. Go ahead, get a fucking comparative 1400s French history or French literature degree. Great, that's fucking amazing. Can you put 8 right angles in a bag and tie me a bowline while I'm dangling however far up in the air by my goddamn balls? Because if you can't, you are no good to me. And I'm not even a journeyman scaffolder yet. I need people that come to work and want to work. I don't need people that come to me and complain about, oh my God, the Marxist implications of your oppressive behavior. It's not fucking relevant anymore. You're nattering, you're complaining, you're crying, your safe spaces. You're, oh my God, I need a puppy. Oh, I can't listen to Christina Summers. I can't stand that Julie Bindel is a trans-exclusionary radical feminist that wants to debate Milo Yiannopoulos, who is a flagrantly homosexual provocateur that loves to stir shit. All of that shit has got you where you are. That is the bed you have made. You can't stand opinions that do not coincide with the entirety of what you espouse, even though that is simply lip service when you espouse it. I have yet to see one of you intersectionalist, feminist, social progressive, whatever the fuck you are, yet to see you actually tell me what rights women and minorities are not granted in the first fucking world that these white men you bitch about have. I'm waiting. I've been waiting for 4 fucking years. It's time to grow the fuck up, people. Grow the fuck up. Tired of this shit. I deal with this shit every day on social media around my job. And it boggles my fucking mind. It's time to grow the fuck up and take responsibility like they did 100 years ago when they went out to protect your grandmothers, your great aunts, your great grandmothers. There were people that lied to take on a responsibility to protect the societies they loved. And here you are crying and fucking nattering. And it is so fucking offensive. It is actually legitimately offensive. You don't actually, you live in the West. You're amongst the most entitled and socially benefited individuals on the planet. There are people that legitimately work their fingers to the bone out there in the boonies of the third world. But here you are telling me how horrendously offensive it is that I slipped up and said foreman instead of foreperson. Really, fuckers? Really? You need to grow the fuck up. Because screaming is not going to convince anybody. Howling at them, telling them what terrible people they are, shaming them, trying to batter them into ideological submission, it's not going to work. That's not where we are anymore. You need to start having conversations. And to those on the right, if you ain't ready for those conversations, you better put your head back in the sand, because I will be all over you too. I'm real tired of this shit.